Uh, Good morning everyone. स्वागत है आप सभी का बैट ब्रिक 7 एंड क्रिक ट्रैकर प्रेजेंट्स रन की रणनीति में। मैं हूं याशिका गुप्ता और मेरे साथ है दो बहुत खास मेहमान। I have with me Cobus Olivier and of course Farooq Engineer. Gentlemen, good morning. And I'll start with you first, Cobus. A very good morning to you first because I know it's 5 o'clock right there in Croatia, and you've been very generous of waking up so early for us. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Good morning.
How are you, Farooq sir?
Very good morning to you, Yashika, and very good morning to you, Cobus. I'm in Dubai, so it's not too bad. I'm having my pehla cup of chai.
Morning cup of tea.
Cheers to you and cheers to everyone.
Cheers, actually.
Cheers, having a coffee.
Well, you got to start the morning with something, Yeah.
I mean, what isn't there a better way to start your morning with a cup of tea and good cricket? Of course, we'll talk about the big match today. It's India versus Pakistan, but before that, it's Sri Lanka versus Ireland, and we have all seen what Sri Lanka has done in the Asia Cup. Starting as underdogs, but then they won the Asia Cup, and how? Farooq sir, about this match, if you see Sri Lanka and Ireland, both of them had made it to the Super 12. How excited are you for this contest today?
Well, if India-Pakistan is a humdinger, a very important match, so is Sri Lanka and Ireland, because in their group, it's a very crucial game for both. Sri Lanka, of course, being the slight favorites, having won the Asia Cup and all that, and having that confidence behind their back. But Ireland are on a roll, having just beaten the West Indies, so they must be believing in themselves. I mean, Sri Lanka, I call them the comeback kids, because they've lost in the initial games and then, and then come back and triumphed magnificently. That's why I call them the comeback kids. But they forget the past. They look at the present, which is a very positive attitude. And that's exactly what every team should be doing. So hats off to Sri Lanka there. They've got some very good players. They've got a couple of players who've been niggled with some injuries and all that. But I hope that, that comes through. And I hope it's a very good game. Of course, Ireland will be cock hoops. They'll be really believing in themselves. Having beaten the West Indies, they thought, if you've beaten them, we can beat Sri Lanka. So they'll be believing in themselves. But Sri Lanka are a very good opposition. So we're in for a very good match.
Absolutely. हम आपको हेड टू हेड दिखा देते हैं पहले तो T20 वर्ल्ड कप में श्रीलंका और आयरलैंड के बीच दो ही मुकाबले हुए हैं, दोनों मैचेस जीते हैं श्रीलंका ने, आयरलैंड को एक भी जीत नहीं मिल पाई है. Cobus, coming to you, Sri Lanka is always known for the comebacks and you've seen them play in the Asia Cup. What do you think about today's contest? How difficult it's going to be for Ireland to beat a country like Sri Lanka, who has been, the defending champions of the World Cup, and they've played so much international cricket?
I think one has to keep in mind that this Ireland team last week, 2 days ago, they beat a West Indies team that's 2 times 2020 world champions. So, and it was not just a win; it was a hiding. They basically gave the perfect batting and bowling display on the day. So they would be in an incredibly good space at the moment as a team. And they've got a very good team. They've got a very settled team in all 3 matches that they've played last week to qualify for the Super 12. They've played the same combination. They haven't changed their team at all. So I think at the moment, as a team, they each player in the team knows his role in the team. They're obviously quite a good team chasing. I think Ireland like chasing, and I also think the fact that they're playing at Hobart today. It's their fourth game in a row at Hobart, so it's almost become like a home ground for them in this World Cup. And I think they'll go into this game bristling with confidence.
बिल्कुल फारूक सर, श्रीलंका जो है जैसे आपने कहा कि वो उन्हें कमबैक किड्स कहा जाता है, बट रिसेंटली दे लॉस अगेंस्ट नामीबिया, बट नाउ दे आर इन द सुपर 12. आपको क्या लगता है, क्या मोमेंटम श्रीलंका के साथ है अभी?
मोमेंटम तो जरूर श्रीलंका के साथ है, क्योंकि बड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस है उन लोग का, एशिया कप के चैंपियंस है और बड़ी बड़ी टीम को हराए उन लोग ने, तो जरूर they must be brimming with confidence. But at the same time, they are having hiccups, losing to lesser countries like Namibia and other places. But they've got to believe in themselves. They've got a great line of some great players, right from days of Aravinda de Silva, Mahela Jayawardene, Kumar Sangakkara, and all that, Muthu Muralidharan. So they've got a long history of some excellent cricketers. And they are a lovely nation. And they're fighters. They're absolutely fighters. I mean, to lose in the opening match and to show the fighting spirit shows their character and the confidence to win. So that will take them through. I think they're going to win quite a few games. They may well have the little upset. But all in all, Sri Lanka are a very good side, in spite of missing out on some key players. But I think the pressure will be on both the teams, really. On Ireland to win. People will say Ireland have nothing to lose. No, they have everything to lose. You're playing in a T20 World Cup after all. So there is pressure. Without pressure, and this is where you sort the men out from the boys. Show how you deal with the pressure, how you deal with the conditions. If it's a restricted match, how you deal with that. Good captaincy will play a very important part. But as Cobus made a very good point, that Ireland have played the games in Hobart, so they must consider that as the home ground. So that's an advantage to Ireland. So all in all, I think we are in for a very good game, very close encounter. It won't be one-sided. I don't think so. I hope not.
Yeah, because this is what Sri Lanka did in Asia Cup as well. They lost the first game against Bangladesh brutally, and then the comeback that they made, and eventually winning up the Asia Cup. But talking about Ireland, Cobus, the journey of Ireland cricket is very, very inspiring for many. They are now regularly playing good cricket. Even against India in a T20 series in June, they fought like warriors. Do you think that we can expect big today from Ireland?
Yeah, I think Ireland definitely won't be seeing themselves as the underdogs today. They would go into this game backing themselves, batting their game plan. And I also think if you look at this Ireland team this season, this year, 2022, they've played against some really big countries. They've played against India, ODI and 2020 series. They've played against New Zealand. They've played against South Africa. So I really believe these guys will have the confidence and will not be intimidated by a Sri Lankan team with obviously some really big names in there. So I really believe Ireland would see this as a game that they can win. And they've got a very good bowling attack. Everybody's talking about Sterling and Curtis and Tucker at the moment. But I think their bowling attack, especially on this Hobart wicket, could be a handful for the Sri Lankan batsmen. You've got that Josh Little, the left-arm opening bowler. He's got the ability to take wickets up front with a new ball. And then you've got the two spinners, Delaney and Singh, that gives them a very good variety in their bowling attack. And don't take away the fact that they've got a really shrewd coach, Heinrich Malan, South African. He's made a big difference to this team since he started working with him. So I would put my money on Ireland today to win this game.
Well,
Well, we
that's a very
saw
brave man,
yesterday.
and very, you made some very good points. Ireland has some very good strikers, very good hitters, and if they get going, you're talking about a 20 match, 20 overs only. So just 1 over or 2 overs here and there can make a huge difference. That's where the captaincy will be a huge issue. Who can bear the pressure well? And one bad over from Sri Lanka could cost 15, 20 runs. That could well make the difference between winning and losing. But that's what I'm thinking. It could go. It takes a very brave man. That's why I call it brave man to predict that Ireland, are going to win. I hope so, because when Irish eyes are smiling, they certainly have got the support of the whole of the nation, and that's wonderful to see. But so has Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka have gone through a lot of rough times and all that with the tsunami and the war there and all that. So
Economic crisis, yeah.
Exactly. Everyone wants Sri Lanka to do well. Everyone wants Ireland to do well, and we all want both teams to do well. So I'm sure they will do well. They will give a good account of themselves. Ireland wouldn't go in this match short of confidence. They believe in
There's
themselves,
nothing
which
to
is a
lose.
very, very good thing. So all in all, we're in for a great game.
Yes, also talking about Sri Lanka's journey, they lost against Namibia and then they won against UAE and Netherlands. How do you see their journey reaching to the Super 12?
Well, that's what I'm saying, that they've shown their fighting abilities, the fighting qualities. By losing the first game, they're not just got their heads down. They've forgotten the past. They're looking to the game in hand, which is the most important thing. Well, no point dwelling about. Of course, you learn from your mistakes in the past. They must be going through their coaches and all that as to where they went wrong. Why did they drop these catches? They could have saved certain fours. They could have handled the pressure better. They could have bowled better. So, all these things are post-mortem things that you look at. And you look at it more closely when you lose a game. That why shouldn't we make the same mistakes again? This is where teams go wrong. Like West Indies, they made the same mistakes over and over again. And that's where they're faulted. That's where they're tripped and they're out. And but this is where Sri Lanka's attitude is, let's forget the past. We've lost the first match. Let's look at today's game. Let's look at how we can beat Ireland. Let's look at the future games. Look into the future rather than the past. So that's the attitude to have. And they've got the right attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. Cobus, Ireland suffered a loss against Zimbabwe, but it won against Scotland and, two-time 2020 World Cup champions, West Indies. They are out of the tournament. How big was that for them?
Oh, it was a huge win for Ireland. First of all, I think to answer that question, and it's a very good question. I think when you go as one of the so-called really underdogs, in that match, Ireland was definitely the underdog. I don't think anybody really expected them to beat the West Indies. And once you have a win like that, and then you go into the real sort of, I call it the real World Cup starting for them today, they would probably have looked at their program and targeted Sri Lanka and Afghanistan as the two matches that they would look to feel they've got a realistic chance to win. Because it's going to be really tough going for them against New Zealand, Australia. So today would very much be a must-win game for them. And the confidence they would have got from beating the West Indies would set them up in a perfect space for today's match. As Farooq said, bristling with confidence, and I believe they're going to come out really hard today, especially on that Hobart ground. It's going to suit their game because it's wrist spinners go for over 8 runs and over. on that ground, and that could really be an advantage to Ireland. So I think that win against the West Indies just made all the difference to this team.
Well, the first bit of good news for Ireland is that they have won the toss and elected to bat. That shows their confidence.
Yes.
That we're going for it. Sri Lanka, we're coming for you. They've sent a message very clear because they haven't adopted a defensive attitude. We won the toss and we're batting and we're going to put a big total so you can't get them. That's their attitude. They're sending out a clear message to Sri Lanka. So, and they've got some very good strikers, and if they start connecting the ball, could be a very, very different game.
फारूक साहब, श्रीलंका जो है वो माना जाता है अपने पहले गेम हारने के लिए टूर्नामेंट में, जैसा उनके साथ एशिया कप में भी हुआ। आज ज्यादा प्रेशर में कौन होगा, श्रीलंका या फिर आयरलैंड? श्रीलंका के पास यहाँ पर अगर वो आयरलैंड जैसी टीम से मैच हार जाते हैं वर्ल्ड कप में, ऐसा खराब स्टार्ट वो नहीं करना चाहेंगे, लेकिन आयरलैंड दे हैव नथिंग टू लूज। प्रेशर ज्यादा किस पे होगा, श्रीलंका या फिर आयरलैंड?
वेल, प्रेशर तो जरूर होगा। ये तो वर्ल्ड T20 है, तो सुपर 12 में आए हैं, तो प्रेशर तो जरूर है श्रीलंका पे, क्योंकि आयरलैंड are supposed to be, they expected to roll all over Ireland, so I mean, and if that doesn't happen, the Sri Lankan public, the Sri Lankan fans and all that would be very unhappy with the Sri Lankan team. कि देखो, you beaten, बड़े-बड़े टीम को आपने हराए है और आयरलैंड के सामने कैसे हार गए तुम लोग, so I mean, all sorts of questions would be raised and asked. So that pressure definitely is greater on Sri Lanka than on Ireland. As you say, Ireland has nothing to lose. No, they have everything to lose. They have everything to prove, I think. They're trying to establish themselves in the ranks of a proper test cricketing nation. And for that, they have got to beat sides like Sri Lanka, and they've got to have more exposure, to play sides like India, Pakistan, South Africa and all that. They have the confidence. They have the ability. They have the tools for it. They have the batsmen, they have the bowlers, they have that fighting spirit, the Ireland, and they've got the whole country, a little country, right behind them. So, I mean, there's pressure on them also, but certainly far greater pressure on Sri Lanka to beat them, being the favorites, being the winners of the Asia Cup and all that, and a loss to Ireland would be absolutely catastrophic for them. So, pressure is greater on Sri Lanka, but pressure on Ireland as well to prove themselves.
आयरलैंड की प्लेइंग 11 हम आपको दिखा देते हैं। पॉल स्टर्लिंग, एंड्रयू बैलबर्नी, लॉकन टर्कर, हैनी टेक्टर, कर्टिस कैम्फर, जॉर्ज डॉकरेल, गैरेट डेलनी, मार्क एडेयर, सिमी सिंह, बैरी मैक्राथी एंड जोशुआ लिटिल। यहाँ पर बहुत बड़े बड़े नाम नहीं है, ऐसे नाम है जिन्हें वर्ल्ड क्रिकेट में बहुत ज्यादा जो क्रिकेट फैंस है स्पेशली फ्रॉम इंडिया या फिर सब कॉन्टिनेंट में इतना नहीं जानते होंगे, बट वन 2020 वर्ल्ड कप कैन चेंज देयर लाइव्स फॉरएवर। फारूक सर,
Absolutely, Yashika. The way you pronounce the Irish names, you almost sound half Irish yourself, Your pronunciations were immaculate there, Don't try to read the Sri Lankan names. But it's wonderful. Yes, indeed. They'll be hoping they get a good start, and they've got the batsmen. They've got two very, very good strikers as opening batsmen, and people like Curtis Campher, who's an all-rounder. Didn't he get 4 wickets in 4 balls or something like that some time back? He's the same guy. Yeah. So I mean,
4 ball, 4 wickets. Yes,
that's right. Yeah, which is a very rare phenomenon. So I mean, Ireland will hopefully get a good start, having sent a clear message to Sri Lanka कि देखो, हम टॉस जीत के बैटिंग करते हैं, हम टोटल जो बनाएंगे वो आप नहीं करें, इंशाल्लाह नहीं करेंगे. तो I mean, so let's see what happens. All will be revealed in a few minutes.
Yes, talking about Curtis Campher, 4 ball, 4 wickets in the last World Cup and he's now doing wonders with the bat for Ireland. How important is this gentleman today for this game?
I've been following Curtis Kamfer since he played under 15 cricket in South Africa. He went to a school called St. Stithians in Johannesburg, one of the big sort of traditional cricket schools. He played for South Africa under 19. And then in 21, he started playing cricket, used his Irish passport, and he started playing cricket for Ireland. And his batting took a while to get going. He didn't really get scores in the beginning, but lately he's grown his stature. I mean, that innings of 72 not out of 32 balls against Scotland that won them the game last week was just a phenomenal innings. So I think really, especially at the back end of the innings, he can do a lot of damage to a team. And also, again, on the Hobart ground with the small boundaries, he really hits the ball hard. He's a clean striker of the ball. He likes to hit straight down the ground. But I think his bowling, he's a wicket taker. He took the 4 wickets in 4 balls. But his economy rate is over 8. So I would think Sri Lanka batters would probably target him as one of the bowlers they could go after. But he could have a huge impact on the game. I would think more with his batting than with his bowling.
Well, Cobus, also, if a guy is successful in one department, like he's been very successful in the bowling department, that gives it additional confidence. You know, your chest, chhati khul jati hai, your chest is puffed up. That I've done well in one department. Why can't I do well in batting as well? And if he's got all the tools, if he's got all the shots, he's a very hard to take batsman. I've seen him play some very useful knocks. So he's a fighter, and the team needs all-rounders like him. So naturally, he will be looking to contribute with the bat as well. Bowling, everyone expects him to do well. But the expectancy will be on him to score runs as well for Ireland, which is an additional string to his bow.
Absolutely.
All right, we are ready with the lineup right now. We'll show you both the size, Sri Lanka and Ireland. we've already spoken about Ireland, but Sri Lanka, if you see, Kusal Mendes is the wicketkeeper, and then Dhananjay De Silva, Sharif Asalanka, then Ashan Bandra, Bhanuka Rajapaksha, Dasun Shanaka is the captain of the team, Vanindu Hasaranga, Karunaratne, Mahesh Thikshana, and then we have Fernando and Lahiru Kumara. But who is missing here? Dushmanta Shamira, their premier fast bowler. Farooq sir, he's missing. And of course, Nanushka Gunatilka and Pratham Nisanka, they are also carrying injuries. How do you deal in a situation like this when you're missing on your key players, and especially knowing that the match is in Hobart and the pitch is not as sluggish as it was in Geelong?
Yes, indeed. I'm missing, Jamaica is a big loss indeed. Like India have lost Jasprit Bumrah. But you can't just rely on you can't sit and moan about your losses. What has happened? This gives an opportunity for other players to put their names forward, to raise their hands and to grab the issue. Because Sri Lanka have a dearth of talent. They've got some very good players. The couple of players who have got niggling injuries, they will try and nurse it. And even if you're half fit or 3/4 fit, and if you're a good player, you will be in the team, because it's a shorter format of the game. It's not a test match for 5 days. So their roles will be much shorter. So even if you're not 100% fit, and if you're a good player, the team selection might be very tempted to put you in the team. That at least 75% fit, he's better than someone else who is 100% fit, because he's got more experience and all that. So even the couple of players who are slightly unfit, I think will be contributing. They're playing for the country. When you're playing for your country, you give it 100%, and that's what all these guys are doing.
All the viewers who are watching us right now, please send your comments, and if you have any questions, please mention CricTracker and use the hashtag BatBrick7, and we will take your questions here. Now it's time for our special segment, Social Tracker, presented by CricTracker. तो चलिए आपको कुछ ट्वीट्स दिखा देते हैं. यहाँ पर T20 वर्ल्ड कप 2022 विन प्रेडिक्शंस, मैच नंबर 3 श्रीलंका वर्सेस आयरलैंड इज, इन्होंने प्रिडिक्ट किया है कि श्रीलंका जो है वो आज का मैच जीतेगा. Knockout कह रहे हैं, DDS will open the batting with Kusal Mendes if Pathum is out. Yes, Pathum is out. Ashin Bandra might join the team and bat at number 4 or number 5. Okay, so Sri Lanka is clearly the favorites today. लेकिन यहाँ पर कॉन्टेस्ट बहुत अच्छा होने वाला है फारूक सर, क्योंकि सोशल मीडिया पर भी लोग श्रीलंका को ही फेवरेट मान रहे हैं, बट यू नेवर नो के जैसा अपसेट हमने कल देखा था न्यूजीलैंड और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के बीच, जहां पर न्यूजीलैंड आसानी से 89 रन से मैच जीता, वैसा कुछ आज भी हम देख सकते हैं.
Well, I mean, it's that's the beauty of the T20, matches, that one over here and there, a wrong over or bad captaincy or bad fielding or some drop catches might play a very important part. So, I mean, the thinking is very quick. The decision making for the captains is very quick, to which bowler to put at which time, against which batsman, where to place the field and all that. So the captaincy will be a very, very important issue. And Sri Lanka have the experience. They're more experienced than Ireland. But Ireland have played their games in Hobart. So, it's like a home ground for them. It's given them the confidence. They won games there. But overall favorites definitely are Sri Lanka. But the pressure will be on them too. Because if you're the favorites, then you're not expected to lose. So, predictions, whatever we can sit and make in the studio, the guys out there in the middle have got to do it. And they've got to prove themselves and prove their critics wrong, or, their fans, delight the fans, whatever it is. It is up to them. They're playing for their countries, they're playing the T20 World Cup, and they will be giving it the best shot.
सोशल मीडिया पर तो क्लियरली लोग श्रीलंका को ही फेवरेट मान रहे हैं. पोल में भी देख लेते हैं कि कितने परसेंटेज मिला है श्रीलंका को और कितना आयरलैंड को. सो 75% will start their Super 12 stage with a win. 75% वोट मिला है श्रीलंका को और आयरलैंड को मिला है सिर्फ 25%. But I think this will work in favor of Ireland because they have no pressure, they have no expectations. They got to prove them to themselves that they are a better side and they are deserving of entering the Super 12 stage, isn't it, Kobus?
But kal kya hua tha? I mean, Australia were out and out favorites. What were they? Similar, 75-25, against New Zealand. And that bucked New Zealand up, maybe. So you're quite right, Ashika. This might buck up Ireland, saying that, "Are kya? Haramzade, humko 25% dete ho aap log? We're better than that. Let's try and get the percentage, leveled up, or let's show them that we're not that bad." So, I mean, Ireland will have everything to prove for. But again, the pressure is on Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka are definitely the favorites. Let's not deny that. Like Australia were the favorites yesterday against New Zealand. But a T20 World Cup में, T20 में कुछ भी हो सकता है. एक दो ओवर यहाँ गलत हुई तो दूसरे टीम को एडवांटेज मिल जाता है. Considerable advantage मिल जाता है. So they will be looking forward to seeing. That's why, all in all, it's very difficult to predict the winners, even if a top side is playing an ordinary side. Like New Zealand didn't win against Australia. They thrashed Australia yesterday. Who knows? Ireland may well thrash Sri Lanka, but I don't think Sri Lanka fans would like to hear that. But I think it'll be the contest, instead of 75, I would say 65-35 would be a more favorable assessment for Ireland. Because 35%.
What will be your how much vote you will give to Ireland today? Do you agree with 75-25?
No, I don't. I would say I read a lot into the fact that the Irish team today is again unchanged. They've now played this whole World Cup, 4 matches with the same team. So it's a very settled unit. They haven't made any changes to the side. Now that gives a lot of confidence to players because you know your game plan, you know the players around you, they're batting, they start to build these partnerships, understanding between batters, the opening pair. So each player knows his role in this team very well. So I would go as far as to say I'm going to stick my neck out and give it a 50-50 today.
Yeah, that's a very brave statement and a very good statement, because you gave your reasons, and valid reasons for that. So let's hope 50-50 makes it a very, very interesting contest, which everyone wants to see, and it will definitely be a very closely contested game. I don't think it'll be a complete, whitewash, which nobody wants to see. So let's hope, Cobus, your predictions are right. You are a brave man in saying, you said earlier that Ireland, you fancied Ireland to in fact win, So you're detracting now. You're going, It
is actually very interesting to have a 50-50 contest, and also we have another contest going on which asks us to predict the score of Kusal Mendes, and of course our views also. So please predict the score, the exact score of Kusal Mendes against Ireland, and what you have to do is just go on Twitter, predict the score, and comment your answer by using the hashtag #BadBrick7. But here with both our guests, tell us what is your prediction right now? How much is this gentleman going to score today, Kusal Mendes? Cobus?
I mean, that's a bit of a shot in the dark, but on form and being the player he is, I would probably back him to get 50 plus today. I think he could be the key batter in the Sri Lankan batting lineup
50
today.
plus is something we will not consider, because you have to give us the exact number.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I go for 52.
52. Okay, Farooq sir.
What, 52%?
No, he said he has predicted the score of Kusal Mendes 52. What is your number? How much?
I mean, this is like a stab in the dark, I mean, all right, I'll say 38.
38. 52, 38, and I'll say 46.
You'll be right, Yashika.
Well, you never know.
I mean, it's a this is like a lottery. You close your eyes and put it on a thing. For the Sri Lanka's sake, I hope he gets he gets a big score. But
lottery की बात है. I hope आज lottery सचमुच लग जाए Ireland की and they win the game, और इस 2020 World Cup को और ज़्यादा interesting बना दे. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Enjoy your cup of tea, and we'll see you guys right after the match is over. Thank you, Cobus. Thank you, Farooq sir.
Okay.
Enjoy the game. Thank you, Yashika.
Thank you, Farooq.
You, Cobus. Yeah.